Have you ever wondered about the enigmatic allure of Satanism? The devilish dance between good and evil, rebellion and conformity. Today, we embark on a journey through the dark corridors of history to unravel the captivating tale of Satanism. Satanism is a new kind of religion that doesn't really believe in a god. Instead, it focuses on ideas from books, art, and philosophy about an evil figure. The official Satanic church, started by Anton LaVey, came about in the 1960s. Before the 1900s, Satanism wasn't a proper organized religion. However, some Christian churches said it was real, especially when they were accusing other religious groups. This happened during events like the Inquisition, witch hunts in Europe and colonial America, and the Satanic Panic in the 1980s. People often imagine Satan as a red, horned and evil-looking figure with a pointy tail and maybe hooves. In the Christian belief, those who do wrong are said to go to his place hell after they die. Hell is described as a fiery underground world where cruel demons, following Satan's orders, cause suffering. Satan's first appearance wasn't in Christianity. He first appeared in Zoroastrian beliefs as Angra Mainyu or Ahriman, the devil figure who went against the Zoroastrian creator god and tempted humans. Later on in Jewish Kabbalism, Satan is seen as a demon living in a demonic realm. The name Satan showed up in the Bible for the first time in the book of Numbers. In the Bible, it was used to describe defiance. The book of Job features the character of Satan as an accusing angel. In the book of Enoch, which was written around the 1st century BC, but isn't part of the official Bible, Satan is part of a group called the Watchers, which consists of fallen angels. In the New Testament, which is the later part of the Bible, Satan is portrayed as an enemy of Jesus Christ. The last book of the Bible, Revelations, describes him as the ultimate evil. It's this Christian version of Satan that Satanism directly talks about. In the 14th century, Dante wrote a poem called Inferno, where he portrayed Satan as a really bad monster, reflecting Christian beliefs. But the Romantics of the 17th century saw Satan differently. They thought of him as a cool rebel, someone who goes against God's strict rules. John Milton's poem Paradise Lost in 1667 was a big deal in showing this idea. And William Godwin's 1793 book An Inquiry Concerning Political Justice made it seem politically okay. A guy named Eliphas Levi made a symbol for Satan that has lasted a long time. In his 1854 book, he talked about Baphomet, a horned goat god, and connected it with Satan. During the second half of the 19th century, people started seeing Satan as more of a hero who goes against the norm. This change happened because of works like Italian poet Giosio Carducci's rebellious hymn to Satan, and William Blake's drawings for Paradise Lost in 1888. In his own book The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, Blake showed Satan as a kind of savior. Around that time, Madame Blavatsky, who started Theosophical Society, wrote about Satan as a rebel who actually helps people by giving them wisdom. Artists in the decadent movement like Felician Rox included satanic images in their paintings, inspired by writers such as Baudelaire and Poe. Satan was also talked about in writings by socialist leaders like Mikhail Bakunin and Karl Marx. In 1897, a Polish writer named Stanislaw wrote 2 books about Satan, one fiction and one non-fiction. In his books, Satan was like an anarchist who had a complete way of thinking, kind of like how modern Satanism sees things. People who followed Stanislaw's ideas called themselves Satan's Kinder, which means Satan's children. A famous occultist named Aleister Crowley saw Satan as a symbol. In his poem A Hymn to Lucifer, he praised the devil as someone who gives spirit and stands against authority in the world. Crowley's thoughts had a big impact on Satanism. In 1926, a German group called Fraternitas Saturni got ideas from Crowley and started doing similar things. Its founder, Gregor Gregorius, wrote a book called Satanic Magic, which took a lot of ideas from the Romantics and adopted Satan within the group's astrological system. Fraternitas Saturni is still around today, and Gregorius writing has been used in Satanist practice. Around 1957 to 1960, a guy named Anton LaVey, who used to work in a carnival and played music, started teaching classes about mysterious stuff. The people who regularly came to these classes decided to create the Church of Satan. At first the classes were mostly about talking, but on 30th April 1966, the group officially became the Church of Satan. After that, their meetings became more like performances with rituals, costumes, and music. LaVey was then called the Black Pope. During its early recruitment phase, the church experimented with unconventional methods, including a short-lived venture called the Topless Witches Revue at a nightclub. Notably, Susan Atkins, later associated with the Manson family, was part of this show. In 1969, Anton LaVey published the Satanic Bible, combining his unique blend of black magic, occult ideas, secular philosophy, rational thinking, and mockery of Christianity. The book featured essays that emphasized the importance of human independence and self-choice in a world that seemed indifferent. The Satanic Bible not only gained national attention for the Church of Satan, but also played a crucial role in its substantial growth. In 1969, Herbert Sloan, a barber and part-time spiritual medium from Ohio, asserted that he founded the first Satanist group, the Our Lady of and the Coven of the Ophite cultist Satanas, back in 1948. Sloan explained that his group concentrated on the spiritual side of Satan and provided services, communion, and social gatherings with coffee and donuts afterward. In an attempt to rival LaVey's activities, he even included naked women in the meetings. During the 1970s, the Order of Nine Angels emerged in England, focusing on occult-based Satanism. Another group that emerged later is the Joy of Satan, which intertwines UFO conspiracy theories and anti-Semitism with their Satanist beliefs. As the Church of Satan expanded, disagreements within the group led to some members breaking away to start their own branches. In 1971, Wayne West, who had been expelled from the church, founded the first occultic Church of Man. In 1975, Michael Aquino, who was an editor for the church's newsletter, left to establish the Temple of Set, inspiring others to do the same. The growth of Satanism was evident when the U.S. Army included it in their chaplain manual religious requirements and practices in 1978. In the following decade, new denominations emerged, like the Luciferian Children of Satan, initiated by Marco Dimitri in Italy in 1982. Dimitri faced accusations of child abuse but was later acquitted. In the later years, additional satanic groups emerged, such as the Order of the Left-Hand Path, established in 1990 in New Zealand. This group blended Satanism with the philosophical ideas of Nietzsche. Another group, the Satanic Reds, originated in New York in 1997, merging Satanism with socialist principles and incorporating Lovecraftian concepts, which belonged to a sub-genre of horror fiction. In the 1980s, there was a period called the Satanic Panic, where Christian fundamentalists spread the idea that satanic cults were harming children in rituals and committing widespread murders. They successfully convinced the public through sensational news coverage. Christian groups often twisted the beliefs of the Church of Satan to create a fictional villain for the media. Serial killer Richard Ramirez, caught in 1985, said he was a Satanist and used satanic symbols in his appearance. He even claimed to know Anton LaVey, adding more fear to the panic. LaVey, however, stated they had only briefly crossed paths in the streets in the 1970s, and Ramirez had never been to the church. The panic intensified, and allegations of satanic ritual abuse became a regular part of notable cases like the one at the McMartin School in California. However, these criminal cases consistently lacked evidence, and there were allegations of psychologists coercing children to support the conspiracy theory. The enthusiasm of the fundamentalists resulted in very few investigations or prosecutions of actual Satanists. Surprisingly, Most of the victims of this frenzy were fellow Christians. The Church of Satan endured the satanic panic of the 1980s and 90s, with Anton LaVey maintaining a calm and understated presence despite media scrutiny. However, the group encountered challenges following LaVey's death in 1997. After a legal dispute with his children, leadership passed to LaVey's partner, Blanche Burton. In 2001, Burton appointed Peter Gilmore, an author and church member, as the high priest, and Peggy Nadramia, the church administrator, as the high priestess. Gilmore's controversial assertion that Church of Satan members were the only true Satanists sparked a new wave of departures, leading former members to establish their own offshoots. In 2013, Michael Ford, a former member of the Order of the Nine Angels and a heavy metal musician, founded the Greater Church of Lucifer. 2 years later, he opened the first public satanic temple in Houston. The GCL incorporates many LaVeyan principles with elements of the occult and has established chapters in various countries. The most notable outcome of divisions within satanic groups is the Satanic Temple. It initially gained attention in 2013 by organizing a satirical rally against Florida Governor Rick Scott, but swiftly evolved into a more structured organization. Co-founders Lucien Greaves and Malcolm Jari described the temple's formation as a response to the Church of Satan's perceived inability to become a meaningful organization. Identifying as a non-theistic religion that sees the devil as a symbolic figure of rebellion in the tradition of Milton, the temple committed itself to political activism, particularly focusing on issues like the separation of church and state, religious equality, and reproductive rights. The Satanic Temple gained attention by making 2 legal attempts to place a statue of Baphomet on state capitol grounds, first in Oklahoma in 2015 and then in Arkansas in 2018. This was a response to government-approved monuments featuring the Ten Commandments. In 2016, the temple established a physical location in Massachusetts, and in 2019, it was officially recognized as a religion by the US government, earning tax-free status. The organization has expanded to include about 20 temples across North America. The documentary Hail Satan by Penny Lane in 2019 brought significant visibility to the Satanic Temple, giving Satanism one of its highest profile moments. From rebellious romantics to modern political activists, the journey of Satanism is a captivating tale of defiance, rebellion, and a constant quest for individuality. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.